Good evening, Facebook. Good evening, YouTube. Thank you for joining us on the Layover Podcast once again. Today, our guest is Neek, on-air radio personality. She is here today, and we're going to be talking about the crew members. So, without any further ado, Neek, introduce yourself to our passengers and let them know who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, hello everybody. My full name is Shanik Mincie, but everybody calls me Neek for short. Radio handle name is Neek during the day, Neek at night. I work at Hot 103.9/93.9. I am the midday on air personality from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And, that's on the air. Then behind the scenes, I'm also the assistant program director for Hot 103.9, 93.9, as well as the music director. And then for our sister station, the BDM, I am programming assistant. So I just kind of help out with some things behind the scenes there.
Neat. That's a
Yes,
lot.
it is. It is a lot. It's definitely a juggling act. So
Definitely. So even in your role, you need crew members. You need people
absolutely.
behind you all the time.
Yes, absolutely. No woman or man is an island. There's a lot of things that you may be able to do yourself, but eventually I think all of us need some help and need some good help. So, it is vital, it is important to have crew members that not just for the sake of just having some people around, but people that are dependable and women and men of their word. When they say they're going to do something, they're going to do something dependable, like all of that.
Definitely dependable. Because the last thing you need is someone who's supposed to be helping you out. And you're like, wait a minute, they ain't show up. They had such and
Hmm.
such and such. And then you be lost without it. So
Yeah.
definitely understand that. When you saw the titles, and I ask all our guests this, when you saw the subtitles, what was your first thoughts? What made you choose crew members?
Because being a part of the crew, it just kind of reminded me of like being part of a team, and there is no I in team. So, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that.
Gotcha. That was real
Yeah.
simple. So, how important is it to have crew members in 2020 when we had the pandemic, when things, kind of stopped and halted? How important was it for you to have your crew members?
Oh God, they're like lifeline, very vital. And the reason why I say that is just because, with crew, unfortunately, with the pandemic, sometimes like, some of the crew members were subtracted from the situation. Some of them were, put on furlough. So you didn't necessarily have all the crew members that you were used to dealing with. So the ones that you did have there, thank goodness that they were multifaceted. They didn't have a problem jumping in, and even though it might have been a skill set that they didn't know how to do, they were willing to take on the challenge to learn how to do it and, and do it to the best of their ability. So just know that, the crew members are just so important. And even the crew that I work with, I'm so thankful that, people, and then the thing about it too is that they worked up excellence. It's one thing to have people that will be a support system and be part of your crew, but for them to work of excellence is important and vital too.
Gotcha. So, in your industry, do you often change crew members often, or do you keep the same crew members for years at a time?
You know what? It depends on the individual, to be honest with you. Within our industry, there's some people that will stay in one location for a very long time, like, I have. That wasn't necessarily the case in the beginning stages of my career, but it depends on the individual crew member. Some people may become, comfortable and, they're fine where they're at. And then there's some that want to venture off and do some other things, or they want to be in another position. They want to go ahead and go for another job that's paying more money, whatever the case may be. So it just all depends. It depends on the individual crew member.
How long have you been with the radio station?
Oh gosh, it's been 17 years. This
Oh, wow.
particular station. Yep, it's been a long time. Been a long time. So, and that's very unusual. In the very beginning of my career, literally I was moving probably like every year and a half to like 2 years. I stayed at one station for a year, another one like a year and a half, and that's when I ended up here in Columbia. So, yeah.
And you a Jersey girl. So how did you end
I
up in
am.
Columbia?
I had family that lived in Atlanta, and I used to visit them during the summers in high school. And I just told my parents, I was like, I want to go to school in Atlanta, And so, my mom is originally from Savannah, so when she heard that I wanted to attend school in Georgia, she was like, "Okay, that's fine, honey," And so went on and made that move. I didn't start out at Georgia State, but that's where I finished up. And then my mom and dad followed me down south. So yeah.
And if I'm correct, your radio profile started at in college, right? In Georgia?
Yeah, I actually at Georgia State University they have a college radio station which is WRAS, also known as Album 88. And that station has been on the air, oh God, I think for like 50 years. So it was like they had a hip hop and R&B show and I just went down and asked if I could be a part of the hip hop show and rest is history. So, yeah.
That's dope. And we talk about crew members at work, but what about crew members as far as family is concerned? How important is that to you? The family support.
Oh man, I am so thankful for my parents. They've always been supportive. Sometimes, it's like, you sure that's what you want to do? Because of course it's just a little bit of uncertainty when it comes to the entertainment industry, and depending on your parents' background, they may want you to have something stable. They're used to the 9 to 5 situation. But once they see, how happy you are, and as far as like, that's your passion, and you're able to take care of yourself at the same time, then it's like, okay, okay, all right. I understand what you want to do, and we support you in it. So, parents definitely super supportive, and then, extended family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, and stuff like that. They see you, interviewing certain celebrities and stuff like that, that's my cousin, that's my niece, so they're definitely down for it. So they've been awesome, family crew members, most definitely.
Yeah, it sounded like you definitely had a good support system. You said mom and dad moved down south after you went to Georgia. Some parents don't move; they be set in their ways and don't want to leave, the state that they're in. So that's pretty cool that your parents were able to relocate because you relocated.
Well, my mom, like I said, my mom was originally from Georgia, so that was like kind of a great excuse for her to go back. Now, my dad, he wasn't with it at first. I'm gonna be honest with you because it's just like literally the majority of my family, I'm gonna say probably about 90% are still in Jersey. So,
Oh,
my dad was really close to his side of the family, and he was just like, you know what, I ain't going, but he changed his mind, and he's glad he did. So.
and you a daddy's girl.
You know what? Like, I'm the only child, so it's like, it's like splitting my time between mom and dad. So not really like I'm both. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's like it's really literally straight down the middle between the two of them. So.
So being an only child, then you really didn't grow up with a crew, or did you?
I mean, cousins and stuff like that. But and then my cousins literally like we lived blocks away from each other, so we did hang out and stuff like that. But no, not necessarily like in the household. But my cousins were all close in age, so yeah,
Okay,
they
so
were
you
my
have,
they were my crew members. Mhm.
and cousins normally are our brothers and sisters without having the same mother. That your cousins are
Right,
like your first best friends. So
absolutely.
I definitely understand that. How important is it for your crew members to have different roles? I know you have people that surround you that may be able to assist you with a lot of things, but how important is it for everyone to have their different roles?
Oh gosh, because it's like no person knows everything. And if they do, then you know what, then they're just a genius, okay, at the end of the day. But it's very, very important because you can't be all places at once either. So, there's certain people that they need to be delegated certain things that they do, and with confidence that they can handle it and it'll get done and get done the right way. There's certain people that have certain skill sets that you don't know. So where I'm weak, they're strong. And when we all come together, it's amazing what we can accomplish. So definitely having crew members that have different skill sets and, it can only strengthen the team as a whole. So it's important. You can't be the only one just doing everything all the time. And I mean, some people do like it like that, but I just think that when you can get that synergy of everybody doing what they need to do, oh man, it's amazing what you can accomplish. It's amazing.
So it's definitely vital and important for everyone to have different roles.
Yes, 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 I think so.
So I know you've been with the station. You've been in radio for almost 2 decades at this point.
Hmm.
What's next for you? Do you plan on staying in the industry? Do you plan on branching off and doing something else? Like, what's next for Neek?
Well, the thing about it, as far as commercial radio is concerned, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with regular broadcast commercial radio. During the pandemic, we've seen a lot of different changes. A lot of things went towards streaming. So I'm not exactly sure how it'll go. Like, music is my passion. I enjoy doing radio. But it's like, okay, so what's going on with the industry? So that's where I'm trying to kind of figure out. But, I have other things going on. I actually just finished up real estate school. So I'm studying to go ahead and take the national and the state test. Real estate is something that I've always been interested in. And during the pandemic, it was like, you know what? You've slowed all the way down. So this is the time for you to, go ahead, sign up for the classes, take the classes, and, just keeping my fingers crossed that I can go ahead and pass the national and the state test at the first time. I've talked to some people, they've taken it 3, 4 times. I'm like, ooh, I'm not trying to take it that many times. So, definitely looking forward to getting into that space. And I'm really interested in doing like Airbnb properties. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to do that. I also relaunched my company, which is called Night and Day Consultants, and started doing just kind of doing some consulting with helping people on the business aspect of music. We know about the music business. A lot of people know about the music part, but not necessarily the business part. So, definitely been helping some people trying to get their business of music in order. So they did that during the pandemic, and just looking forward to doing a few other things as well. So, yeah.
So what you're telling me is, if I was in the studio during the pandemic and I put together some hot tracks, I could go ahead and send it to you.
Yeah, you send it to me, but there's going to be some things that you got to take care of first before it can even get played on the air. So you can send it. That doesn't mean it's going to get played on the air right away. But yeah, we'll guide you in the right direction on what it is you need to do. So
Now, are you still doing your indie show, your
you said what
independent
now?
show? Are you
Yes,
still?
yeah, yeah, yep. It comes on Sundays at 7 o'clock. It's called Exclusively Independent, and that's been on for maybe about 4 years now. So it's still going strong, doing really well. And the cool thing about it is that we still showcase artists from South Carolina, but now it has expanded all across the United States, where we're playing artists from all over the United States, and we've even gotten some songs from overseas as well. So we're global, we're international. So that's super, super cool to hear just talent from all around the world.
That's definitely dope. Did that increase during the pandemic?
No, it was pretty much the same, to be honest with you. We still get, I mean, oh God, for independent music, I probably get at least anywhere from the bare minimum of emails would be 20 a week. I've received as much as almost 100. And just because there's outlets, but then there's not outlets necessarily for independent artists and to have their music heard on a wider scale. So yeah, it can be. And we only come on one day a week, for an hour, so you can't necessarily get to everybody, but you try your best to be supportive. And especially if it's a song that people really, really like, you don't want to just play it one time and then move on to the next song. You really, we're talking about supporting artists and really playing their song for maybe 4 weeks to up to 8 weeks. So
Oh, so they actually get some real playtime.
yes, absolutely. We always encourage the listeners as well. If you're really supporting an artist, it's cool to stream a song, but you should really download it. You know what I mean? Like, that's really investing. It's been compared, like one of my good friends in the industry compared streaming and downloading as like you're having a girlfriend and a wife. So, streaming is like having a girlfriend. Yeah, you're committed, you're with her and stuff like that. But when you download a record, you're making that ultimate commitment about having that song, and you're keeping that song forever. And that's like almost being married. And that's the true support right there. I tell artists all the time, oh goodness, if you can't get friends and family to spend anywhere from 69 cents to $1.29 for your song, I don't. This may not be the business for you. I don't know. Because Yeah, it's just it's a rough business, but if you're really truly talented, the people will support you and they will love what you do.
And in this industry, you're definitely going to need some crew members. Like you said, you're going to need that support system. You're going to need people that's following you and do your downloads. Even people that's going to, speak up for you when you're not around. Trying to get
Absolutely.
you in a place.
Yes, you are so right about that because again, I think with any industry, you're gonna need a great support system. You're gonna need some great crew members, and individually, these people have their role and what they need to do, and how they're going to support you and what you got going on. So they truly have to believe in you and believe in your talent, and you have to assemble your crew. I think you have to choose them very wisely. Sometimes a lot of people want to go ahead and put on their homeboys or their homegirls, and that's cool if they are willing to learn the business, and what needs to be done. But if they just want to go and, part of your crew just want to hang out when you go perform and they just want to pop bottles at the club and spend up your money that you're making, you might need to think about investing in another crew, because yes, that's an aspect of it, but that's not all of it. So, I tell anybody, choose your crew wisely, please. It's vital. You know what I mean? Because one crew member, making the wrong mistake it can ruin you. So you got to really think about that.
So, and since we're talking about artists, and you said choose your crew wisely. What
Hmm.
about choosing a manager? Some people come into the business and their managers sometimes are moms, their dads, or a best friend that may not even have too much um, information about the business side of being an artist.
Hmm.
How would they go about finding the right crew member in that type of situation?
I always tell independent artists, not unless you already have a lot going on, you don't necessarily need a manager right away. Maybe you might have an assistant that's, kind of helping you on your day-to-day stuff or, some weekly stuff. But until you get to a certain level, because a manager is going to ask anywhere from 15%, 18%, 20% of everything that you're making or what you got going on. So my thing is that get to a certain level first, and then when you have residuals and you have that income coming in, then that's when you can have somebody that is supposed to be able to have the connections, the network, and the know-how to be able to take you to a whole another level. Now if you're talking about friends and family, like, I think that somebody that may be really truly just, dedicated to you and your craft, and they just want to be a part and they want to help, then you can consider them. But as your main manager, it just depends. I just think if they decided they really want to educate themselves about the business, and they, some stuff you're just going to learn as you go. You don't necessarily read everything in a book, and you can't necessarily learn everything on Google or YouTube. But yeah, sometimes you're just going to need some people. You're going to need other crew members that already have the experience. So
That's good advice. Definitely some
yeah.
good advice. So, Nick, so we know you do consulting. A lot of people are going to want to know how can they follow you? How can they keep up with you? How can they tap into the resources that you have available? Um, so, on Facebook, they can follow you at what Neat during the day/night. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What is your other platforms?
Okay, so I'm on IG or Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. Not necessarily super active on Snapchat, but I do have one, and also on Clubhouse as well as Get to Know Neek. And I would tell people if they have an iPhone, because Clubhouse is right now is only open to people that have iPhones, but that's a platform where you can go, and it's amazing the people that are on there and the knowledge and the information that they're giving. Like, I've been in several rooms and I have learned so much. Like, literally, I will have my phone over to the side. I'm over here taking my little notes and just, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So, and that's free. Now, of course, they will let you know that they have a business. And if you want more information, then, but you can at least kind of, do your research. And if what they're telling you is true, it's like, wow, okay, I just learned a lot. So Clubhouse is a good one. And I actually have started some rooms in Clubhouse as well. So
So, what rooms are you doing on Clubhouse?
Though the one that I just did not too long ago, I said, are you crazy? You want to be in the music business? So people, so people are like, so I think I'm gonna actually take and turn that into a club because people are like, oh man, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that on a weekly basis. I was kind of doing Clubhouse monthly just because I had a lot of other stuff going on, but yeah, so it's definitely gonna be music based.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah,
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you because you the one that introduced to me to the Clubhouse, invited me over to Clubhouse. And you're right, you get in there and you could be on there for hours just with the
you
information
can.
that's there. Of course, you have to be careful and mindful of the information that you're intaking and
Yes.
don't get information overload, but it's definitely a place that you can get some real good sound information.
Yeah.
I'll tell anybody when you get on Clubhouse, your information, make sure you do some double checking on the
Yes,
information.
absolutely. Because you got some people that claim that they're experts. We all know, unfortunately, there's con artists, there's scam artists, and there's been some horror stories, but I think there's more good than bad. But like you said, you have to do your own individual research and check some of the people out that you may be listening to and making sure that they are who they say they are. So, but that's with anything.
Right. And
Hmm.
just being able to be connected with the celebrities or with the experts in some areas. um I think Clubhouse is a good platform. Just have to
Yeah.
double check some of the stuff
Yeah,
that you hear across there.
absolutely.
And I know if they wanted to get your portfolio because you do some voiceovers as well.
Yes.
um
Yeah, I
and
do
they
copywriting, so there's people, and that's another thing that I've been doing like during the pandemic as well. There's a lot of people being that a lot of people went online more. They're looking for people to, do copywriting for their websites, even for some social media stuff or whatever. So, naturally we've always done it at the radio station, just creating commercials and things of that nature. And, voiceover work, I've been doing that for years. So I do have a site that people can go and just listen to samples of my voice and things that I've written as well. And so that's like my business professional site for voiceovers and copywriting.
Okay. So
Yes.
you heard it here. There's several different places that you can follow Neek at. You can follow her here on Facebook. You can follow her on IG, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Clubhouse, and get to know Neek. And also, if you want information to hear her voiceovers, smincy.portfolio.site as well. Neek, so before we take off, is there any information that you have for our passengers in regards to crew members or anything else in the industry that you're in, the music industry? Is there any kind of information that you wanted to share with us?
As far as like, are you talking about upcoming events or
Just
what are
any
you looking for?
takeaways, any type of gems.
I guess, more importantly, with people that are in the industry, in the music industry, I'm just going to tell people that they've really got to pay attention to technology. It is changing rapidly, and you have to be up on it and know exactly what's going on. So that's probably the one takeaway that I would say is that, just please make sure you are paying attention to technology. And with the technology, make sure that you are finding out exactly what it is, how it works, and so you can maximize what it is that you need to get from it. Whether you're trying to market yourself, whether you're trying to make money, whatever the case may be, just pay attention to the technology. It's our friend, but if you don't know what it is, then it could work against you. So
And that's crazy that you even talked about technology because I just said it the other day. Being in the pandemic, technology was a resource that we always had, but we didn't use it or we didn't maximize that particular resource. Now
hmm.
that we've hit that pandemic, Zoom went crazy,
Yes.
StreamYard went crazy. You
Yes.
know, all of these social media sites now increase. Technology has become so important, and now even Spectrum and other platforms are offering internet services for free. So
Right.
definitely, when it comes to technology, know what you're doing. Number one,
Yes.
research it and use it because it's good for expanding your business, expanding your brand. Like technology,
Absolutely.
be your friend if you know how to use it the right way.
See, you said it. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, and my thing is that, and another thing I just want to tell people, like, it seems like people are afraid, like they're afraid of the unknown. And it's like, like you don't know until you try. I don't care what it is. Like, like, okay, I know I'm not a rocket scientist, so I'm not necessarily going to go and, what I'm saying, want to go ahead and get in a spaceship or try to create one, because that's just not necessarily my thing. But it's just like, don't be afraid to learn. I'm gonna tell you something. Even with you being on the platform of YouTube, like I call it YouTube University, you will be amazed at the things that are on YouTube that you can learn, that people will take you step by step. And I mean, I've learned about certain things, how to program things in my car, because I'm like, let me go on YouTube. I don't know how to use this in my car, and I don't feel like reading a book. Like, so it's just like, it's amazing how much information and knowledge we can get just with our fingertips. And people need to take advantage of that. But then don't be afraid to just try. And if you don't get it the first time, then just try again and try again till you actually do get it. Like, a lot of people are so afraid of this technology. And it's just like, trust me, just try it. Just try it. Spend some time with it, and you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish yourself.
I don't feel bad because I definitely use YouTube to figure out stuff in my car.
Me too. I mean, I use YouTube for a lot of stuff, So
Right.
yeah.
And the things that you can't figure out from the first YouTube video, go to another YouTube video to try to figure it out.
Yes.
Back
Yes,
to it.
I'm telling you all the time. Even there was some new software that we got at the radio station just for, cutting our commercials, Adobe Audition. And it was like, so I knew a little bit, but I didn't know a lot. Man, I went on YouTube, I looked at this video, looked at this other video, looked at this other video. And then once I started applying what they were showing, I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I know a whole lot more now than I did before. So you just, don't be afraid to try. So, just get fear out of it. I think people have just like the fear of losing. Don't have that fear. Just try it.
We're going to give a shout out to the people that make these videos because we like y'all.
Yes, absolutely. And then they're making money at the same time, depending on how many views they're getting anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Right.
another great thing, with YouTube, is that you're able to monetize your content that you're putting on there regardless. So.
Well, that's going to lead me into my gem of the day. And my gem of the day is don't be afraid to get in front of the camera. Like we just talked about YouTube University. Information that you may have may be needed. It may be a breakthrough for someone else. So don't be afraid to get in front of the camera and share what you have. I call it pimp your brain. There's information that you have that somebody else needs. Go ahead and pimp your brain and put the information out there. You never know whose life you're going to help with it. And then you could charge for that stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. People are, during the pandemic, like, how many like e-courses have popped up, and e-books that have popped up, and master classes that have popped up, and so on and so forth. So again, we caution anybody to make sure you do your research on the person before you decide to spend your hard-earned money to gain some knowledge and some information as far as that's concerned. But there's a niche out there, or some people say niche, that you may have that someone else is interested in, and they will pay for it. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We dropped a lot of gems today, Neat.
Well, thank you. You too. Ashley said, charge for everything. Hey, Ashley.
And then use her for the promoter, because she will promote. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with me on this Friday evening. There's so much more I know you could be doing, and you chose to spend your time with me and my passengers on the layover. Guys, if you wanted to follow this podcast, please go ahead and tune into anchor.fm/KTL Lifestyle. Also, to stay connected with anything that I have going on, you can go to my website, KarenTLewis.com. And again, I want to thank you all as well for joining us on this evening and listening on our interview talking about the crew members. So as always, make sure you have a great weekend, and we will see you on our next layover. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nick. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too.